Hi, I'm Paul DeBartolomeo. Welcome to Training Minutes. In this month's segment, we're going to deal with a bicyclist trapped under a transit bus. Some things we want to consider as we arrive on scene is we want to confer with the bus driver. We want to make sure that the bus is in park and that the maxi brake is securely set. As we begin our walk around size up, we want to chock the rear wheels of the bus so that we don't have any unexpected motion. As we can see here, the bicyclist is pinned under the front axle by the exit door. On many transit buses, they have a kneeling bus feature, which is basically an air or hydraulic system that allows the bus to raise and lower at bus stops. As this happened over the road, that system is probably going to be in the up position. We want to ensure with the bus driver that is in fact the case and that remains that way. We don't want to have the kneeling feature of this bus go into effect with a person underneath the bus. As we walk around, we're looking for hazards, any additional victims, and we want to start sizing up where we're going to lift and capture this bus. As we can see, down low, right behind the wheel here, we have a superstructure, a part of the frame that spans the entire bus and actually runs to the rear. So that'll be a good spot for us to capture this load. I'm going to walk around to the driver's side. Again, we're just trying to find some areas where we can lift and where we can capture this load. If we come around back behind the driver's side wheel, again, we can see this framework comes down here and spans the entire bus. It's actually tied in here like a big box. So again, that's a very good place for us to capture this load once we lift. The next thing we need to do is decide where we're going to actually lift this bus from. Due to the location of where the victim is pinned, our choices are somewhat limited. But we've got a spot in the front of the bus. If we look underneath, there's some framework, a superstructure that spans the whole width of the bus that we could probably build up to and lift right off of. It'll allow us to do a single point lift. It'll be well balanced. We'll be able to get this bus up enough to extricate our patient. Alright, we've decided that we're going to do a single point lift off the front framework of the bus. We're going to use 4x6s as our base cribbing due to the weight of the bus. The bus is a very heavy object, so we're going to beef our cribbing up a little bit. Again, because of the weight of the bus, we're going to do a 3x cribbing. Just added stability, we're going to do a 3x tier cribbing here. As always, we're going to use stacked bags. This bus has a hydraulic or a pneumatic suspension system that's going to come into play. We're going to require a good deal of height to be able to extricate this patient, so stacking the bags is going to give us that added height. If we look underneath, we can see there's still a significant gap between the underside of the bus and the bags. We also have this front bumper that's hanging down below the superstructure, which is going to get in our way when we start to lift. So what we want to do now is take a 4x4 block and go on top of the bags and line it up evenly on the I-beam that we're trying to catch. Pass it under. We want to pay particular attention that this is centered on the X on the bags and centered on the I-beam. How's it look, Joe? Good. Okay, now we're centered, we're locked in, we're in position. We should get maximum lift when we inflate these bags. Alright, we're now in a position where we can start to lift. We've got our two firefighters on the side of the bus. They've already begun to build their capture stacks. They'll be stabilizing the load as we come up. So on your call, Joe, we're ready to lift the bus.
Up on red. Stop. Up on green. Stop. Up on red. Stop. Up on green. Stop. Up on red. Slow. Stop. Up on green. Stop. Up on red. Stop. Up on green.
As we can see, when we do an evolution like this, we go through a lot of cribbing. It's important to have cribbing staged on site that we can readily get to facilitate this lift and be able to stabilize the load as we go along.
Stop.
Okay, we've reached our desired height where we can extricate this patient. Our members on the ends will stabilize this load with 2x4s, and we'll be able to back down and capture the load. Alright, we've reached the desired height. We're now going to transfer the load from the bags to the capture stack so that we can go ahead and extricate this patient. We'll just deflate the bags enough so that the transfer occurs. We can leave the bags in contact with the load. That's going to give us added support, and it's going to enable us to lift if we have to, lift additionally to get the patient out. The bags are already in a position that we could quickly go and get the additional lift that we need.
Stop. Down on red. Stop. With the right height.
Okay, we're able now to extricate the patient. All right, we've got several firefighters in position to begin this extrication. One is minding C-spine at all times. We're going to have to bring the patient out with the bike. We've got to be aware that there's a good possibility this patient may be impaled on the bicycle or on the undercarriage of the bus, so this has got to be done rather delicately. Once the patient is out, we can provide the proper medical attention, board and collar this patient, and hand them over to EMS for transport. As we've demonstrated here, this is a pretty common accident that does occur, people getting run over by transit buses. It's a lot to do with size up. We have to look around. Although lifting and stabilizing spots on the bus are somewhat limited, if we do a good size up, we can find some areas where we can lift this bus and stabilize enough to get a patient out. I'm Paul DeBartolomeo. Thank you for watching Training Minutes.